Hello and welcome to the Nicole Mason Show. I am so super excited because the men are taking over the Nicole Mason Show. And today, I want to introduce to you Deacon Thomas G. Wright, and I want to share a little bit about his background, and then we're going to jump right into the conversation. Deacon Thomas Wright is a proud native son of Washington, D.C. Listen, he loves his city, and he will tell you he loves his city. He attended D.C. public schools and completed his primary education at Gonzaga College High School. He attended the University of Maryland, College Park, graduated in 1981 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology. Employed with the U.S. Department of Justice since 1982, he is currently an information technology manager for the Solicitor General and Office of Legal Counsel. He has been a member of Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church since 1987. Shortly after joining the church, he accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. Deacon Wright and his wife Paula have been married since 1990. They are blessed with two sons, Thomas Alexander and Christian Charles. They're older now. We have in the book that I'm reading from 28 and 25, but they're older. Yeah. Deacon Wright is also the father of Evan James, saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled. He is dedicated to the will of the Lord, the ways of his family, and the work of the ministry. Listen, the bio is extensive, and I won't go reading all of that because we'll have that on our sites all across social media. But I want to jump right into this conversation with this powerful, awesome man of God. So, Deacon Thomas Wright, welcome to the Nicole Mason Show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be on with you.
Yeah, you all are taking over, the men are taking over this week because I wanted to showcase this great work that you all are doing outside of your employment and really making impact in the lives of other men. So I want to start out, I want to talk about why, you know, the work that you do with men, coaching them, mentoring them, serving as a ministry leader, serving as the head deacon at our church, Greater Mount Calvary Holy Church, and the chair of the deacon board, why that's important and how you have come to this work with men.
I think the best way I can answer that is I did not know that I would be in this situation. I did not know that I would be a person who would talk to men, specifically younger men, and have something to say to them. I never knew that my life story or my life experiences would be advantageous for someone else's life. I was just living life and trying to find my way. And then I realized that there were some people, there were some young men who were going through some of the same things that I was going through, but they didn't really know how to navigate it, or they kind of knew, but they wanted a little more guidance. And so that's how I got into just talking. And I realized, wait a minute, I have something to say, and I think it's advantageous for these people, these young men or men in general, to listen and hear it.
Yeah. That's really awesome. And, you know, you are a leader, not just in our community and not just in our church, but also on your job. You know, talk about the importance of leadership now, in particular for men and particularly men of color, how important it is to be a leader with integrity now.
It is absolutely crucial for men of color to have a level of integrity that, I'm not saying we dotting every I or crossing every T. I'm not saying we're perfect, but we have a level of integrity that stands for itself. I used to say this one thing: I don't lie because my memory's not that good. I will forget. You know, it's much easier to tell the truth, and if you're going to tell the truth, you're not going to do things that compromise what you have to say to people, which will keep you in line. But it's those things where you look out in the general public and you see how people are living and you see the message that comes from other men. And, not to cast any dispersions, but I'm like, wait a minute. If I have my sons, I don't want my sons looking at this dude and thinking of him as a role model, especially if I'm here and supposed to first and foremost be his role model. There should be some kind of, let's say, some kind of maybe dichotomy, if you will, where they can see them and they can see me and they see how I've been living. And so then they'll have something to compare. Wait a minute, you're saying this, but you're doing that. Well, I've noticed my dad said this and he did it.
Yeah.
So that integrity is important. And it's important because you then expect that same thing from your sons or from anyone. In my case, from my sons and from the people that are in my life. I expect integrity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful, because one of the things that I hear coming across loudly and clearly is self-accountability. So because you know that your sons are looking at you, holding yourself to a high standard, then you can hold other people around you to a high standard.
Yeah. It's as if I was standing in the office with a supervisor and the phone rang and it was for them. And they said, Thomas, tell them I'm not here. I'm not telling them that. I'll tell them you're not available, but I'm not telling them you're not here. That's lying. I'm not doing that. And there have been times on my job with the Justice Department over 38 years that it seems like they wanted me to compromise who I was. And I told them I would never do that. I recall when I applied to be a Metropolitan Police officer, and I filled out the application and I went in for an interview and I sat down and the guy said, well, fill this form out. And I filled it out and he looked at it and he said, okay, fill this other form out. And I filled it out and he said, okay, we can't hire you. I said, why not? He said, because you said you use these drugs. I said, yeah, but you asked me. He said, yeah, but you told the truth. I said, well, I'm not going to compromise my integrity for no one. Those are things that I've done in the past. There's nothing I can do to change my past, but I'm not going to lie about it.
Right.
And we went back and forth and the Lord blessed me. I didn't have to go that route because I went back to my office and got a position for a job that I applied for, making more money.
Yeah.
So I think it was one of those things where the Lord was just saying, okay, let me see what you're going to do. Let me see how you're going to stand, because that will follow you. If you start lying here, it's going to follow you everywhere. And you'll have to continue to tell that same lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And, share with the audience, how does that show up in the work that you do with men? Do they think that, you're like, it's like, oh, come on, brother Thomas, that can't be the way that you handle life. What's wrong with just, not disclosing, do we have to really live like that? What's your response when people are saying, it's okay to just, tell a little lie or whatever the case might be? And you're like, no, we need to do it this way. How has that shown up for you in your coaching with men?
Because when you determine that you're going to live a certain way, and especially when you determine that you're going to live for God, there are things that you see. For what you do in the dark is going to come out in the light. So, I say I'm not perfect and I haven't been perfect, but I strive for perfection because my God demands it of me and he demands it of you, a spirit of excellence. You want to do the right thing. You want to do it well. And so those are the things you can hold someone to a standard if you're living that standard. It's not do as I say, not as I do. It's do as I say and do as I do. I'm going to show you where I am. I'm going to show you who I am through actions. And so that way you'll see this can be done. And it's not easy. You're not always going to come out on top, but being out on top depends on what your perspective is of being out on top. When I can hold my head up high and know that I've done the best that I could do, I know that, my integrity stands for it. People look at that, and you never know who's looking at you,
Right.
or who's eyeing you to trying to see, now I'm gonna watch this brother because he comes across in a certain way. It's come over in my job, where people will come in my office and close my door and say, Thomas, do you mind? Can we talk? Because they know it will never go beyond my office. It will never go beyond. They'll never hear it again. They'll never hear it again. And so that creates a level of trust, to help other people. And they'll come to you and say, do you mind? Do you mind if I discuss this with you, or do you mind praying? There's a certain situation that's in my life. Can you pray for me? Those things happen, and they don't happen to a person who's living ragged. Yeah.
That's powerful. And I love that. And, you, along with my husband and 8 other men, decided that you were going to share some of what you're talking about tonight in a book, Faith for Fiery Trials, Men Impacting Men with Real, Raw, and Relatable Stories, and just sharing from a very vulnerable and transparent way. The first of its kind, I might add, where African American Christian men are coming together and sharing from their raw emotions. Share why that was important for you to participate in such a project.
It was very important. And first of all, I wanted to commend and thank you, and I'll continue to thank you again and again for allowing me to be a part of that project. It really spoke to me, and it did something for me, and it's actually pushed me and caused me to look and say, what else can I do? If I've done this, I think there's some other things I think the Lord wants to do. But this project, it brought out an opportunity for me to talk about a subject. And quite frankly, what I've discussed in the book, I've never told anyone. So if you didn't know me from, how people will come up to you and say, call you by your nickname. Well, if they call you by your nickname, they knew you from back in the day.
Exactly.
So when, those people may know, but there are a lot of folk who don't know that particular part of my life. And while I've been transparent with brothers to let them know, I remember the day my mother called me a whore, and I took it as a compliment. But then I also worked to make that compliment go away. So being married to one woman for next week will be 31 years.
Praise God.
So it's those kind of things. But it was a subject that I wanted to talk about because I thought if somebody out there needs to hear, it's not where you start, but it's how you keep going in spite of how you started. And that you can continue on and you can make it. Not that you won't make mistakes. Again, I'll say that you make mistakes. Experiences sometimes are hard. I often try to get my sons to, explain things to them and say, you don't have to live because I've lived it. You don't have to experience it because I've experienced it. But then I remember me. And having, okay, you said that, but I'm probably come out on a different way. And when they come out the same way, it's like, so you ready to do something different now? Right. So,
well, let me tell you, it's powerful. And your title in the book, it's called Raised in the Fire. Every time I hear that, it just does something to me. It's powerful. And I want to just read just a little bit of it. There are times in life that come along to make you ponder your existence. The triumphs and successes, coupled with the challenges and pitfalls, can bring on deep introspection. Powerful. Why am I here? What is it all about? Will I accomplish the things assigned as my destiny? You discover that the questions are not the problem. They often lead you to consider more issues to ponder that you didn't think of initially. It is the effort you put forth trying to unearth the answers that are really what can turn you upside down. Let me tell you, that's so powerful.
Mm.
That's so powerful. How does that hit you when you hear your own words back to you?
It hits me hard because first thing it does, it go, did I write that?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then once I hear it, it starts to take me back to what I was thinking about when I
Mhm,
wrote those words. And, you know, yeah, what's that saying? Life ain't been no crystal stairs.
mhm,
You know, it's been some tough issues, trials and tribulations, and some of the things that I've had to go through
mhm.
to get where I am. There are times when I should have been locked up.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
are times when, had I been locked up, you know, it wouldn't have been, you know, no chump change.
yeah.
Uh, the times when, you know, I should have been dead,
Mhm,
but the
mhm.
bullet missed,
Yeah.
or I did not get into that situation that I thought I was about to get in.
Mhm.
It's those kind of things. And, you know, I wasn't um, a drug addict per se, but I was, you know, dabbing into things that I had no business in.
Yeah.
And then you know, after I did it, I wondered, how did I survive and these other people died?
Mhm,
And I did just as much, if not more, than they did.
mhm.
Um, and so I realized there's something to this thing called life,
Mhm.
and there's legitimacy to it. There is energy to it. Um, you know, it's what you put into it,
Mhm.
and how you continue to go about it, that allows you to be who you are. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm the best me that
Mhm.
I can be. Nobody can be me.
Yeah,
Nobody can be
yeah.
me. I'm the best one. And so when I thought about, you know, when I hear what you read again, it takes me back, and I realized, you know, those things that I went through were not done to break me. They
Mhm,
were done to build character. They
mhm,
were done to highlight integrity. They
mhm,
were done to let the world know that even though I started here,
mhm,
I'm now here. So, for someone to have said to me then, you're going to be a leader of men in a church, and
mhm,
you're going to be the longest running chairman that
mhm,
the church has ever had.
mhm.
What? You're going to teach
Yeah.
in an accredited Bible school, huh? You're
Mhm,
going to write
mhm,
and be a published author in a book, and looking to write my own book. What? You're
mhm,
talking about me? You're going to be the father of success, of sons. I've never had to go to court for one, never
mhm,
had to pick them up out of jail. They
mhm,
both finished school. I took
mhm.
care of their college tuitions. You know, things that I wanted to do, I was able to do. And I can't begin to tell you how the money worked.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't be,
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
begin to tell you how I never had to rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, I take that back. I used to short Peter a few times because Paul just wanted a little more.
Yeah, yeah,
And I just, you
that's
know, but now Peter and Paul and everybody else getting their cut, you know,
uh-huh.
they're getting their cut because it's how you decide to live. It's, Lord, I'm going to live this life the way you said. I'm going to plant seed. I'm going to do these things. And I
Mhm,
just believe that it's going to work out.
mhm,
Whatever it may be, whether it be health, whether it be any other issues, we're going to work this thing out. And the great
mhm,
thing is I got to help me
mhm,
that has walked with me. And I tell young men, you know that you have somebody when you can wake up in the middle of the night and they're praying for you.
mhm,
They're because something happened, you didn't feel good, something happened on the job, and
mhm,
they're in the middle of the night praying over you,
mhm,
anointing you with oil.
mhm.
That means something.
Yeah,
That means something. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And I was getting ready to go and bring Sister Paula up,
yeah. You
who
notice how
is
she kind of slipped in there, right?
who is wonderful. No, that this is what we do, and talk a little bit about having that support and going back in your life, writing some of those things that were hurtful to you, some of those things that, didn't make you feel good when you look back on them, just kind of being in a state where you now help other men to navigate that same space where you did not necessarily have that same kind of guidance and direction. So talk about how that helps when you have somebody to support you with that.
It is an amazing thing to have a woman, to have a spouse, to have a helpmate there to support you, not just in the it's in the hard times. Everybody can, everybody's happy during the good times when all the money's coming in and everything's straight. Everyone is healthy. The kids are good. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's happy. But it's in those times when it's dark outside and it's dark inside, things are going on. And you realize, man, I don't know if I need somebody to bounce this off. I need somebody to talk to. And I can talk to her about anything, or she'll help me, or she'll say, Thomas, you can do it. Look, just go ahead on and get it done. And things that I write, I say, okay, can you read this? And she's looking, it's good. No, I need you to read it. I want you to hear what I'm saying, because I want, if it clears with you, I'm good. I'm good. Between God and her, I'm good. I don't care if anybody else read it. And, because I said some things in the book about my father. And then I autographed the book and gave it to him. After he read it, he called me and we had one of those conversations. So much so that I haven't talked to his brother, my uncle, and I don't know when. He called because he got a copy. I gave him a copy of the book. He called. He said, "This is amazing." So now I got to speak something to them that I did not get to speak, or rather, one would think he's not going once he read that, he don't want to talk to you, because he's now a man of God. He certainly understood, and so those are the kind of things that you work with. But Paula she was the person there to help me, and I knew it was a safe space. It was a safe space. I think since I've been saved, I've cried more than any other time in my life, and it's because we growing up, it's like men don't cry, we hold it in. And that's you walking around with a big ball of emotions, and then you wonder why you explode on somebody for the small, you stepped on my shoe and now I got to shoot you. Because you're not shooting them for stepping on your shoe, you shoot them because of all that stuff you held in, and now it explodes instead of letting that stuff out when you can. And so, like I said, my experiences is what I share with other men, and let them know, look, I went through this, child support. I went through 21 years of that. I know what it's like to stand in a courtroom and have to go before a judge and have them look at you like I had one judge in the beginning say, he's just a fly by night, another fly by night. And I finally, I was like, wait a minute, Your Honor. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm not no fly by night. I said, I do what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, you just can't. I may be risking going to jail, getting stepped back for contempt, but you just ain't gonna say all of this about me, and you don't know me. And
I know you said it too.
Yeah, I did. And the judge. If I told you who the judge was, you would know who it is, and you would know that's not the person you want to be saying that to. But I guess the Lord was on my side and had to turn his heart towards me. But it's those kind of things, and so it always goes back to having someone there. I mean, she was there when I filed bankruptcy. She was there when I had to tell about, I had a baby out, with someone else before we even got married. So this is going to affect our finances. She was there when I was coming home and my check wasn't looking right. All of that. She was there when, baby, I would love to upgrade your ring, but I can't afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gonna ride this vehicle until till the wheels fall off, because that's all we got.
Yeah.
But now we can pick, choose, and
Yeah.
refuse.
Yeah, that's good stuff there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I appreciate that so much about you, and you share, a lot of that in the book. And so how can people contact you? Can you share your website so they can
Yes.
get the book? And what I really want to just point out is that you really do share how you can go from, it's like that song, I was at the bottom, now I'm at the top, how men who find themselves in these urban centers, and sometimes the expectation is that they won't make it. But
Yeah.
yet here you are, having a very successful career in the federal government, in a senior management position, like I said, a leader in the ministry and a leader in the marketplace. And so the story is very powerful. How can people contact you?
Well, unfortunately, I do have a website. It's TG Wright Enterprises, all one word, .org, O-R-G, tgwrightenterprises.org. Or you can email me at tgwrightenterprises at gmail.com. And of course, I'm also on Facebook as well as under Thomas Wright, and Twitter as well. But I'm always looking to dialogue with people. My thing is, especially with this book, I'm realizing it was done to help people. The other 9 brothers that shared are some marvelous brothers. The great thing is, except for like Brother Bernard, because his pain and his struggle was so in the open. But a lot of these brothers you'll never know what they've been through. And when you read their story and then you look at them and go, this ain't the same person. You didn't go through this. And in actuality, you realize people don't look like what they've been through, but they're able to overcome because of, as far as I'm concerned, because they have Christ in their life.
Yeah.
That's my my support. That's my I can specifically point to my life changing for the better when I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. I didn't stop going through troubles, but I know the exact time when my life went on a different trajectory. And I believe it's still going. And all there are folk, I believe, that are assigned to you, and you have to be the one to plant. You may have to be the one that water. He'll give the increase, but I'm just determined to do my part. Because when I get there, when I get to talk to him, after I finish asking him the 100 questions I got about why this, why that,
right,
I want him to say, okay, cool. You did what I wanted you to do. And okay, I'm thrilled about that then. Never mind, forget the other questions. I got some more, but never mind.
Yeah, that's powerful. And, I really want to just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, keep writing. You're a very powerful writer. And I know that you are also available too to speak at men's conferences and, men's gatherings and all of that. And people can get that information when they contact you on your website.
Yes.
Listen, our time has gone by so quickly, but I want to thank you so much, Deacon Thomas G. Wright.
Thank you.
Of tgwrightenterprises.org for being my guest on the Nicole Mason Show of this week of the Men's Takeover. And so you can also follow me across social media at Nicole S. Mason, ESQ. And my website is NicoleSMason.com. Thank you so much for tuning in again to another powerful episode of the Nicole Mason Show. We'll see you the next time.
Praise God.